Hello everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology, and I will be bringing through our astrological transits for the week of November 12th through the 18th. It looks like a really energy-packed week, plus we have the new moon in Scorpio coming in too, so that's kind of cool, I think. But anyway, let me swap out cameras here and I'll just take you over the charts day by day and we'll see how it goes. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I added a new glyph here. You can see it is Ceres, and Ceres is basically a dwarf planet, just like Pluto and just like Eris. But I thought I would add her in because she's all about protectiveness, and especially towards humanity and animals. She rules all things that are related to nurturing. So you can think in terms of food and farming and, bottom line, everything that has to do with our maternal imprint as well. The home environment basically that we grew up in. And so, if you have your natal chart and you want to put Ceres in there, that will give you more information as to, you'd look to the sign, whatever sign Ceres is in, and you'd look to the ruler of that sign. And then, of course, the house placement and the aspects, to Ceres. But also, it'll show you how you were nurtured or not. And how you can flip that energy to best take care of yourself and those you love, because it's also how we nurture. So she's also related. The reason I really wanted to bring her in, probably should have before, but we did have Venus. So now I want to bring through the information about what happened last week. I mean, here we are, or not last week, actually, I'm doing this on Thursday. It happened Tuesday night and yesterday when, so Venus entered Libra at about 1:30 in the morning on Wednesday the 8th, so that was yesterday. And we had all of those, awesome things that came through with like the state of Ohio enshrining abortion rights into their constitution. We had Democratic people winning positions in governor and a bunch of other. I think we had Virginia, and what was the other state? You guys are going to have to help me out with that because I can't remember. I've had my mind in the astrology so much that I'm losing the other things. But we had, I think it was Virginia, and what was the other state? I thought there was something in Rhode Island where somebody got into a Democratic position. Can't remember. It was in the House, a Democratic House position. I think it was Rhode Island, but I can't remember the names or the name. And also, a lot of Republicans lost. Just as many Democrats that won, Republicans lost. And most of all, the message was put out there. And here's where Eris comes in. Conjunct the North Node. So remember, the North Node, of course, is always the direction we're going in. The South Node is the past that we've been in. We've been wanting justice and fairness with the Libra South Node. Eris and the North Node in Aries is kicking ass and taking names, basically. Eris on the dark side can be all about resentment and revenge. And I think with Chiron there as well, getting closer and closer. Well, it's retrograde, but once it goes direct, it'll catch up quickly. And the North Node is going back towards Chiron, so it's coming together. But this stellium here in Aries is all about the right to exist, the right to life. And of course, here we had women's reproductive rights on the table, and that's what Ceres is all about. Ceres is, when it comes to women, it has everything to do with their reproductive system and all the transitions that a woman goes through during her life. So, yeah. Now, you can see that today, Sunday the 12th, the moon's at 9 degrees Scorpio. And of course, we're getting closer. Tomorrow we'll have our new moon, and I'll talk more about that when I get there. But this stellium in scorpionic energy, oh my goodness, especially with Mars in Scorpio, and this is, really tight. When the new moon happens, it'll be at 20 degrees, so then we've got 21, 24. This is going to be a really tight stellium. And that brings through, with Scorpio, there's that transmutation that happens. There's transformation, transmutation, like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Basically, we've been burnt and we're tired of it, right? And then because it will be coming through, and already Mars is, holding space, and Ceres has been there holding space too at that last decan of the sign, by degree, so 20 to 29 degrees. Scorpio is all about mastering something. We've gone through the lessons, and now we're in mastery. So this is a harbinger. What happened yesterday, Tuesday and Wednesday, is, November, it'd be 7th and the 8th, is a harbinger of what's to come. And if the Republicans don't know by now that women's rights were everything, and it's not just women's, it's LGBTQ, it is HIPAA rights, the Hippocratic Oath. It has to do with whether a person can live or die when she gets pregnant, right? And from what I gathered on the news, 54% of men voted to support a woman's health care choice. So, so it's not only that; it's also gun control, and that would also be in the area of Scorpio. And that, that axis of Scorpio to Taurus is all about safety, of course. And, safety with Taurus, and trust and betrayal, with Scorpio, right? So if you don't have safety, if you're not safe with someone, if you're not safe in your life, it's hard to rebuild. And Scorpio, to go through the phoenix rising out of the ashes, how many times in your life are you going to, put up with that kind of crap, right? So, hold on, I need to move this a little bit. I'm afraid it's going to come off the table here. I had it down too close. Okay, so back to scorpionic energy, because it's sitting there for a little bit. We have to talk about that. And remember, Scorpio is also connected to Pluto, right? And Mars. Mars used to be the old ruler before we discovered Pluto, which is another dwarf planet. So now we have 3 dwarf planets that I'm working with. There are others, but I wanted to include Ceres first, just because it can get to be too much with all the other ones, and because Ceres comes in between. So we have our personal planets. We have the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and we have the Earth. So emanating from the Sun, closest is always Mercury, then Venus, then the Earth is there, and then Mars is there, and then Ceres is in between Mars and Jupiter. So there's like this bridge of the personal planets to the interpersonal, you could say, with Jupiter and Saturn being the interpersonal. And then I like to look at Uranus and Neptune as transpersonal planets, and of course Pluto's way out there, and Eris as well. So, Eris is so far out, I don't know that I want to go any further out, because, it takes her, 558 years to get around the zodiac. I mean, the other ones are there, and they're holding space for creativity and support, but, So anyway, let's just get back to the Scorpio stellium. Okay, so remember, Scorpio has it's fixed water. So it's very passionate, can be very vengeful, especially if they've been screwed over, right? We've learned that. There's a lot of perception within the sign. They tend to be, if they're well developed, tend to be very psychic. And sometimes will sacrifice whatever needs to be sacrificed in order to get to the goal, because they're so determined. Scorpionic energy is very determined. It's like, oh yeah, you think you got me? Okay, well, we'll just wait and see about that. And they'll plod along, and go deeper and deeper and get more details. Scorpionic energy is excellent for research and bringing together people through crisis, and getting, again, just back to that place where a person can really, trust their support system, resources, and who they share their secrets with, basically. But it's all about crisis management. It can be intense, to say the least. So that is the energy on the table. And with Mars there's that motivation to get somewhere that you can trust, to get somewhere where you can, build on. Because again, building with the Taurus-Scorpio axis is really important. And then Saturn, so Saturn and Jupiter are the builders of the zodiac on the planetary level. So with Saturn squaring Mercury coming in, Sunday, now that Mercury's in Sag, again, there's more direction, because Sag, and so the way we're all going to be thinking and communicating, for some time, it has to do, we don't have a retrogradation in Mercury until December. So I'm trying to remember, and it won't happen until Mercury will be in Capricorn, actually, and it's like mid-December. So we have between now and, let's say that first week in December, because I think the retrograde comes in at, like, if I remember right, it's, oh goodness, 7 or 8 degrees. It's hard to remember all these things, and I could have that wrong, so don't quote me on it, but we'll get there when we get there. So with Mercury, again, all forms of our thinking and communication and curiosity. It's our planet that is a messenger that also rules the vote. And in Sag, it was all about what is true, what is right, what is the right way to go. And of course, it's to keep the church and state out of a person's body, right? I mean, when you make those kinds of decisions, it's between you and your doctor and your family, or you basically should just be you. And you tell your doctor what you want. And then if you're in a crisis situation where you're going to die because you're pregnant, or it would create a big hardship on your family to have another child, pretend you have 5, and God, could you even afford 6? And oh no, what do we do now? And you're living in Texas or something, you've got problems. So, and then to have, and here's the other thing with that, it's like that scorpionic dig, around, like Mike Johnson, he was one of those that crafted with his, living by the Bible, which there's nothing in the Bible that has anything to do with abortion. Anyway, living by the Bible, he was one of those that crafted this, what is it when it's like the bounty, to have a bounty on a person's head if they aid and abet a woman getting an abortion. So doctors won't step in. They basically had to, the stories were like on the news this last week or this week, were about a 12-year-old child who she was molested all her life by her stepfather, or not all her life, but a lot of her, years with her stepfather, and then finally raped by him and got pregnant and had to have the baby. And she doesn't want that to happen to anyone else, so she was coming forward and talking about it, as a young adult. And so that's one part of it, with the exclusions and all of that, or exceptions, I should say, exceptions. And these people wanted no exceptions, and they were going for a 6 to 12 week, ban, right? Anything after 6 or 12 weeks, depending on which state you are in. So anyway, you don't need me to tell you about all the rules, but with that Mars and Scorpio and Mercury and Sag, it's about going deeply to get inside of what the crisis point is with the woman's reproductive rights. Because remember that Scorpio rules reproduction, bottom line. okay? And then with Mercury, the messenger, and the way we vote, bringing through the vote, with in the sign of Sag in its highest level is geared towards the truth. It has everything to do with being very, very enthusiastic and speaking up, and breaking through religious dogma and this, my way or the highway kind of bullshit. I mean, so we taught them what we stand for, and I'm really grateful to all the people that, all the men that supported everything too, because they're part of a family. It's a major part of a family, and there's no reason for things to be at a crisis point like that. So anyway, yeah. I mean, the fact that we're even having any discussion about this is so ridiculous. The fact that Scrotus took that right away, it was just unbelievable. So, but that is the backdrop there with Pluto squaring the nodes. Pluto's been squaring the nodes for quite some time, and will continue to square. Eris is involved, continue in this journey all the way through Christmas this year, December 25th. So yeah. Let's see, what else? So power struggles based on what's fair and what has to do with survival. The deserving to survive. How about we thrive? How about we're able to thrive? But then Saturn, with the square to Mercury, again, here we are with Saturn. Oh God, Saturn. Sorry about that. Saturn is the government, and in Pisces, it's about creating, victims. It's about, in the worst sense, if we look at Pisces on the negative side, cult-like behavior, victimhood, being all over the place, but won't take responsibility for anything. And now Pisces in the higher sense, and remember, because Saturn is one of the builders of the zodiac, we're dealing with the place of being much more sensitive to other people's needs and being much more compassionate. So that's the way, and with Mercury and Sag, that's the way that we're thinking, right? So this hit from Mercury to Saturn will hold space for that. And looks like we proved that we didn't want to put ourselves in victimhood because everybody got out and voted. And this is so good for gun rights, and it's going to be excellent for getting rid of the election deniers as well, because nobody wanted that anymore. Nobody wants that anymore. Those 147, well, there were 139 House members and then 8 senators that voted to overturn the election. I don't think they're going to get reelected, but I have a playlist with a lot of them in there, so we'd have to look at that individually. But let's look at another placeholder here with so the North Node, where we're headed with Eris, courage, determination. We're not messing around anymore. It's fiery energy. It's very forceful. It's very passionate. There's a lot of spontaneous creative energy that comes through. And then we have these 2 quincunxes up here too. See how Ceres is at 24 degrees? This is the exact quincunx. So therein lies, and Mars is moving in that direction. We'll certainly be in there soon. And so this creates the adjustment. So here's why it was so important to bring Ceres through. And with that adjustment, it's the adjustment to go in the direction that we want to go, so that we can trust our instincts and assert our unique individuality in moving forward in our lives, rather than having to be left out of the equation rather than being what the GOP wants is to have us just be chattel and breeders. And, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to let that go and keep moving, you know, move forward. So Uranus here with the opposition to Mars. This is that surprising, well, it wasn't surprising. I kept saying last week, there's going to be a big breakthrough. Let's see what it is. It's unpredictable energy when you have Uranus involved. But I knew that the energy had to do with safety and security versus crisis. And yeah, women's health care, reproductive rights fits right into that. So you can see with this upcoming Sunday, where we have it pretty much exact. Well, you know, a few more minutes. So yeah, 20 minutes. We're in an exact opposition. But anyway, so the breakthroughs will continue to happen. It will be surprising. I think that now I don't know how long the trial, you know, Trump's business fraud trial will go on, but he's already lost. It just depends on how hard, how much it's going to hurt them. I do believe that he will lose his, the Trump org will lose its business certificate to practice, to have business, I should say, in the state of New York. So I think we can look for that. And yeah, so this opposition, it's in there all week long once all these other planets catch up too. I think by the end of the week we're left here with just Mars. Ceres, of course, will be there. Uranus, it's retrograde. It's only going to go back to 19, and it'll go direct next year, early next year, and or January next year. I can't remember the date though, but I'll get that later. So this Uranus opposing Ceres is going to be in play for quite some time. I need to check and find out how fast Ceres moves. She's out there, you know what I mean? She's not that far out. She's in between Mars and Jupiter, so I'm thinking that she's not that slow, but she's of course slower than Mars. Yeah, and as we all know that Jupiter can stay in one sign for about a year. It takes 12 years to get around the zodiac, of course. So anyway, let's see. Venus, I love this. Venus sextiling, so it's 1 degree out of Mercury, but Mercury's moving much faster than Venus, so this is actually, it will tighten up. But we're only 1 degree different. So between Libra, so if we want to blend the energy, Venus in Libra, first of all, is very comfortable there. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So Libra is related to all of our, that inner sense of fairness and equality and our balance and our relationships and those decisions that we make, in order to stay socially, connected. It's both Venus and Libra are very, very much, a part of connecting with other human beings. And then Venus helps us bring through what we value. Well, in Libra, we're definitely valuing those relationships that we can trust, the relationships that we connect with, the relationships that are fair. So, with the sextile over to Mercury, there could be a lot more exploring the meaning of our relationships. We do have, the sextiles always bring through opportunities. So the opportunity is to speak up, say who you are, what you're about, and if there's a connection, great. If not, you move on. It's more of an optimistic energy when we're in Sag. Unless, it's coming from the dark side and it's all this patriotic, bullshit, basically. So, okay, now see all the trines coming over here to Neptune. We have to talk about that. You know what? I started to look up and see when the last time, the years that Neptune was in Pisces. Because, Neptune takes 165 years, 164 to 65 years to get around the zodiac. And it stays about 14 years in one sign. So I guess we'd have to say that, if you have Neptune in Pisces, you probably would not be very old, right? Right now. Yeah. But anyway, with the trine, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4 trines, all of these trines coming in, or no, there's 4. Yeah, there is 4. And the moon, and the moon's moving the fastest, of course, but then, yeah, the sun. So the Sun, Mars, and Ceres especially are in a very tight orb right now. Tomorrow the moon will be there as well. And so all that translates into a nice flow of energy, but also if it's used in the dark side, because usually we say that squares are challenging and oppositions are confrontations, but they can lead to breakthroughs, and squares are just a tension field. And I notice sometimes in charts of very dark people, there are trines and there are sextiles, and so I just see them as connective points. So we can use the energy to the best use of this energy. It would be to go deeper, understand yourself, be very honest with yourself, and what is your path of transformation? What is it that you need to dive in, dig in, and understand about yourself, in order to heal? And it could relate to your, especially your parental imprint, and then with the trine over to Neptune, on the lightest, brightest, most beautiful side, look to Neptune as your guides, your guardian angels, your source energy that can dissolve anything that was painful. You can literally, with all of this energy here, you can dissolve resentments. You can dissolve the feeling like you have to get even with someone. You can completely, and that's the beauty of Scorpio, is that transformation where you can go deep and you can understand your crisis, what the crises were about, and what you brought in to heal, and that's usually what you help other people heal too. And once you get it, it's like you can't help but share what you know. So yeah, and then with the other side of the Neptunian energy, it's really beautiful when it comes to your spiritual path. It has everything to do with the interconnectedness of life and how we can be very compassionate for what other people are going through. Yeah. When it comes to other issues with Neptune, we do have that, like I said, that cult-like kind of unconscious reality where people are just gullible and they don't know what they've gotten themselves into. But then again, too, if it's connected to Pluto and Capricorn, or anything that is cut off from the heart, it's something that's not going to grow. Eventually, especially with Pluto squaring the nodes and Eris involved, and Chiron, eventually you come to the place, or a person that's involved in a cult comes to the place where they realize they're going down with the leader, right? Do we want to go down with the leader is always a question. When the leader is done or the leader dies, or takes a whole group out with them, then that's, of course, we've seen that throughout history. But the big old cult leaders and the gurus and all of those other, people that put themselves above everyone else, and they're not just the average, Joe, right? And that's one thing I love about Joe Biden, is he doesn't seem to exalt himself much, if any. He seems to just be a, basic average Joe. And then here we have others that, are just constantly, they need the attention. So that's the backdrop politically and personally, I think, for the week. Got that there. Let's talk this one little bit, because we were in the energy of Jupiter. We do have the semi-square here I'm sorry, we did talk about Neptune, but we do have the semi-square to Jupiter. So Jupiter in Taurus is all about, so again, Jupiter's about truth, expansion, what do you believe, what brings meaning into your life. It also rules spiritual law, courts of law, man-made law, things like that. And then, usually all things that are beneficial, but it can expand things. So with the semi-square here to Neptune, there could be an expansion of the dark side of Pisces, to where so I'll talk about it in both ways. If it's on the dark side of Pisces, there'll be an expansion that you can't really not look at anymore, and you might make some changes. And if you go to make the changes, I would venture to guess it's to get on your spiritual path and get away from the crazy, religious dogma, the crazy anybody having rules and regulations over your body, and your belief system, right? We don't need a priest to get to our God self, because our God self is inside. It doesn't lie within the other person. And hopefully they'll see those types of things. But for the rest of us, it's actually that type of energy where we have to take an action. If you want to find who you truly are, you have to meditate. You have to go inside. You have to listen to your dreams. You have to sit down and do some automatic writing. Sit down and allow yourself to color. Or if you're recuperating from an illness or you're exhausted, you can lie down and get guidance. You can open up every night before you fall asleep, or if you lay down and take a nap, whatever it is, any rest period, you can ask for your guides and guardian angels to heal your body. But you have to take that action. See, that's the thing. You have to be the one to ask. And you don't have to do, at least the way I do it, I don't say, please do this for me. I say thank you and tell them what I want. You put it in the affirmative and give gratitude. And then things open up from there. So I think we're good. We've covered the Saturn's trining the South Node. We've had that going on for some time. And that goes back to the past, right? So South Node of the past has been showing us what's fair and what's not. And Saturn in Pisces, well, now that Saturn is moving direct, we have that opportunity there to open up to something so much bigger and create a strong spiritual foundation that is so much stronger than we've ever had. Yeah. I think I'm just going to blow off the little sesqui-square, because that just is, it's going to, Venus will move quick enough to get that out of there, and it's just a little bit of stubborn energy for the day. But yeah, if you we want to do that, is hold on stubbornly to what brings in more safety. Okay, so Monday, now we have the new moon. It comes in at 1:27 a.m., so you'll probably be asleep when it happens. But when you wake up, I should have said in the beginning of this video, I'll talk about it now, but hopefully you watch, a couple days in, and you at least get this. The closer you start your intentions to a new moon, you can create the most effectiveness. So it's really effective within the first, few days before and a few days after. But what you want to do is just know that it's a new cycle. You're starting a new cycle. So the new moon's always a place where you can activate something. So if you look to that, so get your natal chart out, and you look to see where 20 degrees, almost 21 degrees of Scorpio is. But it doesn't matter if you're having. Well, first of all, you look to the house. So the house will be the area of life that you could be the most effective in. So you could set your intentions for, whatever it is you're wanting to work with for this next cycle over the next month. Now, just remember there's a spiritual law that when you set an intention and you actually do the work, do your affirmations or think about it a lot or both, right? Or even create a little vision board if you want, or sit down and draw or paint, or just write it out. Then you activate that energy. And so energy, the spiritual law is that your intention, that energy actually will wrap around your intention. So that's key number one when it comes to the new moon. And if it's something small or something you've already been working on for quite some time, it very well may come to fruition when we have the full moon coming in, in another 2 weeks. So basically what you want to do once you get the house figured out, you also want to look at, do you have any planets or a hot point? And the hot point is the ascendant, and the ascendant magnetizes. The IC is like a well of resource. The descendant has to do with partnerships and relationships, and then the MC midheaven is that's related to how we participate with life, and it's usually seen as a career point, but it's I kind of see the whole chart is all about vocation. But anyway. Back to, if it's any planet or hot point between 15 and 25 degrees of Scorpio, this will be a really important lunation. If you have, so this is where you want to take some notes. If you have any planet or hot point in opposition, so that would be 15 to 25 degrees of Taurus, then you know that Uranus is there as well, so that's going to really bring through quite a bit. This would be a really important lunation, and this lineup is in our house somewhere, in our charts somewhere, right? You get your chart out and you realize, oh, this stellium in Scorpio is in my whatever house. Uranus is in the opposite, okay? But if you have a personal planet between 15 and 25 degrees of Taurus, then all of this new moon energy is going to bring in this power and this force to help you in this other house, other area of your life. Now, if you have any squares to planets or hot points, so that this would be a square within 15 to 25 degrees of Leo or Aquarius, that'll be an important thing to look at. So that new moon energy, you could be working in a tension field of whatever those planets are. And you have to, when I say the planets, you have to know the energy and consciousness of each planet. And if you want to even just for a month get a membership with all my lessons, you have to go to my homepage and then look at the memberships and click on the join button. And don't worry, you won't, just because you click on it, you won't be joining until you figure out what you want to do. But you would go to the third level, and it's like $25, but you could do it for just 1 month, or you could well, if you do it for 1 month, you'll get the whole month. You won't be able to back out of any. It's not like prorated or whatever. But you could always cancel after 1 month and just go to the astrology lessons and get as much as you can. I mean, you can even record my voice on a voice recorder or something and listen to it later, that way. And get the nitty-gritties about what all the planets mean. And then you can always use this, for every other transit that happens, or all the transits that are always upcoming. So, okay, so there'll be squares are Leo and Aquarius. Those are the squares to Taurus and Scorpio. And then a trine. If we have a trine to any planets or hot points between 15 and 25 degrees of Cancer or Pisces. And then the sextiles would be between 15 and 25 degrees of Virgo and Capricorn. So the trines will bring in a nice flow of energy that's easy to work with. The sextiles would bring in, of course, opportunities. And the squares will be a tension field. The oppositions would be a confrontation, because you've got the mirror. It's like you and then something over here. But, these are all psychological dynamics within that we're all working with. And then it can lead to the oppositions can be what seems to be a confrontation, but then later on turns out to be a big breakthrough. Because the only way to work through something is to go through it, right? So, but bottom line for everybody, the Scorpio new moon is going to bring through lots of opportunities to refine projects you've been working on. It's going to help with bringing more harmony into your life, but sometimes through the conflict, and the conflict would be around freedom. With Uranus, it's always about freedom and reinventing ourselves. And, sometimes it can be an invention that you actually create. Sometimes it can be that you rebel against something, like, of course, we're all rising up and rebelling against the so-called new, status quo. And it can also be reversals, right? So if you've had a lot of, like, let's say the negativity of Scorpio, let's say you've had somebody be very vindictive, or you've had people in your lives, or in your life that have always created crisis, and you're tired of it. There can be a big reversal, because now you're siding with the side of putting yourself first, and it's all about your safety. It's about your security. It's about you being faithful to yourself. It's about you preserving yourself, self-preservation. So on the nice, the good qualities, again, it's about finding new ways to create positive, prosperity and income, things like that. And then all this nice stellium of energy here in Scorpio can bring through, connecting with others and how we share our resources. And, one person has this expertise and this one has another. But man, you bring them together and you really have something amazing. So that's on the table for everyone. And everything else I was talking about yesterday, with the overview for the week, those aspects are still in place. That has everything to do with standing up for yourself, not taking, anyone else's, what, and that's the direction that we're moving in, and we're holding fast to what helps us be more secure and safe. And we can be very intensely focused and passionate on, again, those issues of our reproductive rights and protecting our finances. Now, on another level too, Scorpio is really good for recycling. So we could be making some new, inventing new things out of the old. And then new ways of researching that makes things easier, or digging into more details, because again, remember this 20 degrees, we're at that last decan of the sign. So we have lessons, but the lessons are in, we've gone past the stage of forming something new and then integrating some lessons, but then also we could be integrating a life lesson, and now at this last decan we are mastering it. So I think this is just wonderful. You can see Mars now is in the square over to Saturn along with Mercury. Wait, I'm sorry. That is Ceres. Yeah, that's right, because it's 6 degrees there. Yeah, 6 degrees separation, right? So it's Ceres, So again, back to what I was saying, like being, I just heard the word indignant. Indignant. If you even try to trespass against my bodily autonomy, that type of thing. Is backing up against the government wanting to control a person's well-being and happiness, right? So this is going to be on for at least the next couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot of communication and a lot in the news. Of course, Mercury rules the news, having to do with Roe v. Wade and the Dobbs decision, and it's going to. Now, what I hope it doesn't do is get anyone to back off from the need to vote, because none of this will work if we don't vote in numbers that are too big to fail, basically, right? We have to vote in numbers so high that it bypasses the gerrymandering, even if, where that's possible. There are some places that is kind of impossible because they have it set up to where you can't vote outside your district, and then they only give you there's only Republicans on the ballot. So I don't know what to do in those situations. Maybe it's legal to. I don't know enough. I'm not a constitutional scholar, and then the rules in every state are different. But I imagine you could write in who you're voting for, I suppose. Yeah. Gerrymandering and the Electoral College should be outlawed. It's talk about this, our civil rights, and all of these rights are civil rights. Civil rights are relating to the South Node in Libra there. So this is what's on the table. Now, if you're blessed, if I don't want to say blessed or in luck, because I don't believe in luck, if you've created a life, and I'm sure that if it's really peaceful, it's something that you've worked on in many lifetimes. But if I'll go back to saying blessed enough to be able to just kind of flow through life and not, have to work hard with your intentions for your personal life, we could always use the energy to set the intention. And it can be both. It can be your personal life, and because there is really no difference between our personal and the collective. The more grace and ease that we have in our lives, we can not waste that energy, is a point I'm trying to make. Not waste those blessings, not waste all those that just be grateful, and then use the energy and put it out there to support others. Use any spare energy that you have in order to support others who are struggling, others who aren't able to do anything but deal with the atrocities that are happening. So, anything to help relieve the struggle, that would be what the supportive aspect here with quincunx from the South Node in Libra. We're talking, justice, fairness, equality, and then that 150-degree aspect here, that adjustment over to Neptune. And the best of Neptune in Pisces is that compassionate place where you can use your intuition and use your visioning. You can sit and meditate and vision, all types of beautiful things happening to to create something better for other people that are having a very, very hard time. So, Neptune relates to like hospitals and, any altruistic things that we can do. So maybe, or altruistic. So maybe I'm thinking like, I don't know the best places to donate that get into war zones. That's again back to the scorpionic research that we could do to find out what this is. If you have any disposable income that you could, send their way, I'm sure it'll be used, if you find the right organization. But yeah, so Neptune is all about how we can connect. It's our, our collective consciousness that we can, or the collective unconscious actually, that we can, put out there to help people that really need the support. So let's see. I think that's it. When it comes to the new moon, I think we're covered there because everything else is the same that I spoke to for Sunday. So let's go ahead and go to Tuesday. Tuesday, November 14th, the moon has worked its way across. Sun, Mars, and Ceres is now conjunct by 5 a.m. is only 1 degree away, or actually less than 1 degree away from Mercury. So again, usually the moon is indicative of what's going on in the public. So lots of talking, lots of trying to move forward. With Sagittarius energy, it's like very directional. It's like it orients you on your path. It can be very optimistic. It can help you. It can be very inspiring. It's ruled by Jupiter, so just think all things Jupiter. Jupiter in Taurus is over here holding space, and that in conjunct of Venus, there's that need for security and that stubborn, holding on to include everyone, to not leave out anyone that needs help. Yeah, a lot of inconjuncts going on here between Scorpio and Aries, of course. So yeah, so what I just said about people that need support and honoring everyone, yeah, I could say it 3 times over to get each one of these aspects because they're all saying the same thing. We've got like the signature of the 3 going on here. And with the moon and Mercury and Sag, I feel like it's going to bring through some new ideas, some new opportunities to expand safety, to get money and resources where it's needed to help. And this could also play out. Let's say you don't have any disposable income and this is just for you. This could play out in the way that you figure out some ways to really get down deep inside of your real needs, and you work on that. You work on knowing that you deserve to have safety and connection and support in your life, and that that's something that you give to yourself as well. If you connect with yourself and you work to support yourself, then of course, you eventually have it to give to others too. Let's see, the downside of Sagittarius would be to be very opinionated and to just kind of put the energy out all over the place without any discernment or discrimination, and to be, opportunistic in a way that's just really wasteful and self-indulgent. The negative side of Sag has, that quality. Just like the negative side of Jupiter has that blowing things up and just over-expounding and talking trash and being basically wasteful, right? Yeah. So, okay, what else? With the other aspects to the moon, you can see that we have the sextile, 2 sextiles coming off of Moon and Mercury back over to Venus. Venus in Libra wants to balance things out and, again, be very humane. It's all about working things out in relationship. It has that quality of speaking up to figure out where you stand, and then you can make a decision from there, and vice versa. Each person can do that. It's engaging type of energy as well. There's that wanting to connect. And there's also that wanting to, using Libra in the best of its energy, is to share opportunities, and then reflect back and forth from each other so that you know yourself better, because it's all about relating, right? So we can't really relate well to someone else if we don't know ourselves. But the more they know themselves and they relate to you, then you learn about them, and they learn about you, and that's what real relationships are about. So Venus and Libra on the negative side could have to do with not committing, being very polarizing, like me versus you, that kind of thing. Can actually be pretty manipulative, get what they want and then go. And they can just be kind of floundering around, just, yeah. Like a bird that comes in and just gets something and then flies away and you never see them again. Or they want to get in there and have a little fight because they've got life force tied up in conflict. That can be, the case. But it would usually be the kind of fight that, of the mind, fighting with words. But with Venus there, she's our force for unifying something. She's our force for relating in ways that bring relationships together, right? She's all about our self-worth. She's all about peacefulness. And of course, Libra is usually related to peacefulness. So with the two sextiles up to the moon and Mercury, I feel like there's more talks about peacefulness. Maybe there's some breakthrough with the Israeli war, the Hamas, I don't know how you can talk to them, but maybe there's some breakthrough. Yeah, now notice Ceres has moved far enough that there's a sextile over here to Pluto, so there is something powerfully nurturing coming through. That bodes well for the for Israeli-Palestine talks. Yeah, I would hope. Maybe making some kind of a deal, but I mean it's been going on since October 7th. It's way past a month. And it's heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking. Especially what's happening to children. It's just so heartbreaking. So let's see, what else for Tuesday? That Ceres sextiling Pluto is going to stay for some time. So that's, I'm glad to see that, because that's actually good. Pluto can help transform in ways that can bring something strong through to support the nurturing and to get out of crisis mode. Okay, so let's go ahead and go. Oh wait, no, I'll talk about that one tomorrow, because that'll still be there. Let's go to Wednesday. So let me talk about this one before I forget about it. Venus in conjunct to Jupiter between between Libra and Taurus. There is that opportunity there. Well, there'll be an adjustment that has to be made, but because there's the sextile up to from Venus to Mercury that's still going on, and at exact today, right? 53, clocked it at 5 a.m. It was probably a little before, but I don't know. Actually, 7:53 to 7:53. I guess it is exact, but it's interesting that it came through at exactly 5 a.m. So with the opportunity here from Venus to Mercury, I feel like there's, again, something peaceful that may come through. Oh, on another level too, you know what else all this could be about? Because with Neptune in Pisces and the trines up here to all the scorpionic energy, and I do remember reading on this before, so this is about the SAG-AFTRA strike, but also when I did that reading, I don't remember if I included, I think I did, but in case I didn't, anyway, I remember getting that, so I don't know if I included the writer's strike or not, but the writer's strike actually did conclude, or that was done, I think was at the end of September or early last month, somewhere in there. And I remember that in the reading, I couldn't tell if it was early fall or late fall. I kept feeling like it was, fall, during the fall. And some people were saying, well, but I was getting September, somewhere in September. And people were saying, but September's still summer. It's like, well, but, fall happens the first day of Libra. That comes in September 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in there, depending on the year. It changed. Those things change by degrees. So anyway, bottom line is now it's looking like writer strike was done, and then now it's looking like the SAG-AFTRA strike will be, I think they already agreed, they have agreements, but they just have to sign the contracts. So that is happening this week too, and that would be a part of everything in here. Neptune ruling the film, movies, all forms of media, and with the trine that, over here, these 3 trines to Neptune. So that's actually, that's making sense astrologically too. That's one thing that's so good about astrology is timing. It's harder to nail down what it's about. You can get in the energy, but then when you see the timing of events, it's just perfect. And Venus is all things related to beauty and coming together and social, situations. So again, with the movies and all of that. And Mercury would relate to actually like signing a contract. And with Sag, it could be very helpful in getting somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, the exact, like I was saying, trying to Mercury and Venus, I do feel like this could have to do with signing those contracts. And for you guys, for all of us, in our personal lives, this would be opportunities in relationship to really get to the truth and understand the direction you're going in the partnerships. And also, if there aren't any relationships or partnership issues or things that you're dealing with that way, it would be how you can cross that bridge coming back home to yourself by getting inside of understanding really deeply what you believe in with Mercury and Sag there. Like, what is your inner self-talk, right? Are you just spinning around in opinions that other people put on you when you were growing up and they're still rumbling around in your skull, right? How do you like open that fist that's in your skull that says, this is the way it has to be, right? Yeah. How you let go of all of that, right? So the moon and Sag can be very helpful. And then with the moon in the trines connecting here, so you can see the trine to Chiron, Eris, and the North Node. Lots of fire energy to finally move forward. Like I was saying, the best thing with Sag is it can help you get on your path and go in the direction that you're meant to go. And everyone has their unique path. Although we all have our life, our soul task, which has to do with understanding the false beliefs that you brought in to heal, which is how we choose the geographical location and the parents and the time, the era. All of that is like an imprint. And there are gifts, there are blessings, and there are also, the challenges. There's the gift and the wounding always, and that relates to wherever Chiron is natally in your chart. But with the 3 trines coming down from Mercury, from the moon today, there's, I think, a connection as to how you got where you are and now where do you want to go. And with it being in that second decan of Sag, it does have everything to do with integrating some new lesson in your life or your life lessons. So I love that. Let's see. Also, the moon is squaring Neptune, so there's a little bit of tension around, is what I do, is what I believe in, is it true? right? Well, if it's true, the way to test whether something's true or not is, there's your real truth, your life truth. I mean, the real experiences you had in your life, which are true for you. But whether or not the beliefs around what created the life experiences are true, that you have to take to like absolute truth, right? Like it's funny, funny questions you can ask yourself, like, what are my real limitations at this time in my life? Do I really, really am I really putting limitations on myself? Or with the square to Neptune, am I being gullible? Right? So there's a challenge here today for some of these people out there that are in cults, and they're in a patriotic type of a cult. There's a bit of a reckoning today for them. I don't know, because I'm not in contact with those people, so I don't know how it'll go, but I would imagine it won't be easy. And when it comes to, if there is someone out there in a relationship with someone like that, I think you're going to find exactly what they really believe. They're going to tell you what they really believe, right? Like something will slip out, and it's like, oh, I just told the truth. And especially with all the Scorpio energy there, Scorpios, when they're the highly evolved Scorpios, are very honest. And even the ones that aren't highly evolved, they're still going to say the things that blow you away, but it just won't be kind, right? It won't be self-honesty. It'll be what their honest opinion of you is, and that's not fun. Can be very harming or harmful to a relationship. So, I think that's it for today. Let's go to Thursday. Thursday, the moon is in Capricorn. No matter how early you get up, I was looking at the hours before, and it goes into Capricorn, late, really late that night, Wednesday night. So, the moon in Capricorn is trining Jupiter, and it's an approaching trine, so every couple hours it goes past into another degree, it will be getting stronger and stronger. So Capricorn to Taurus energy is really, really good for working, for being self-responsible, and you can see it's headed towards Pluto. Excuse me. So with that trine there can be some new awareness about how to become more secure, how to become more prosperous, what to actually do. You can have some intuitive insights as to what to do, and having the optimistic attitude about it as well. And it could also help you to realize it's like, it's an attitude of gratitude. That's what brings things through. Be grateful. Look around. Maybe you're doing like Oprah did years ago, where what was it? Something like 10 things a day? I think it was 10 things she'd write down every morning that she was really grateful for. And, it can be the most simple thing, as like, I love this pen I'm writing with, like that kind of thing. I love this journal, But usually it's, all the people that you love, and your fur babies and all that, and your house and things like that, or your home, whatever it is, or if you're traveling, the freedom of traveling, or your car. It can be material things, but what I like to do is to take a little journey inside and look how far you've come, and be really, really, really grateful for all your life lessons that you got. And be grateful for the understanding that life is for you, and will always bring you what you need in order to get the lessons to bring you back to the real truth. So back to that absolute truth, right? Because the absolute truth is the laws of love. That we are in this web of existence. We're in the Milky Way, in this spiral galaxy, and we're in this web of existence where we get to work things out. We have the time-space continuum to hold us in a place where we can literally work things out. And I think that that's really beautiful. And then to get to the truth is that we're held in that love where we actually get to make mistakes and be human, and all the time that we are working in a way to release who we truly are from within and get rid of all the crusty old soul substance that doesn't work, that keep, scar tissue and knots in our souls that keep us limited in this, like, oh, that's the way it was and life isn't fair. I don't believe that for a second. I believe that life is 100% fair. It has to do with what you put into it. It has to do with what you believe, because what you believe is what, it's always what we attract. So, yeah. And we already have, the main thing is that the real truth is that we already have within everything that we will ever need to create what we need. And a whole lot of what we want. So if we know that we are already all that we could ever want to be inside, there you go, right there. It's just that the problem is that we're often coming from a very limited perspective that keeps us from accessing all of our gifts, our wisdom. So yeah. Okay, so that's what I believe is just a piece of, just to speak a little piece of what what real love is. So that's how I see the best way to use the moon trining Jupiter and Ceres, because what are you going to nurture in your life? Is it going to get you somewhere? Will you commit to yourself? And then the sextile over to Pluto, that will transform your soul. Pluto is always about transforming the soul. It's about the journey of your soul. And then with the square to Eris, have that courage, that's all about courage, to boldly blaze your own trail, right? So, okay, let's go to Friday. Friday we have Sun conjunct Mars, so there's a lot of energy in Scorpio. So everything that I was speaking to, for Sunday, we've been building and building and building in that same, coming from that same energy. And now we're having the Sun with this, look how we have these three oppositions to Uranus. So there's more and more possibility for breaking through. And Mercury's still in that first decan of Sag. So we're still, developing according to whatever our beliefs are. The moon is clocking closer and closer to Pluto, so things are heating up and getting intense, or getting serious, I should say. The moon, and in the second decan of Capricorn is, we've learned something. We're in that process, and it's going to be intense. I'm thinking that maybe Trump's business fraud trial will be done. If it's not this week, then it would be the week after. And there can be some real comeuppance there. Somebody put that question or that comment used that word in one of the comments, and I was cracking up. I love that word. It might have been Charles. Comeuppance. I think it was Charles. I was laughing about that for quite some time. So some comeuppance happening based on financial fraud, right? And the reversal of a fortune right here. You're honest to that. That's, I think, going to be on the public stage, because remember, the moon often rules the public. For those of us personally, it relates to getting really serious about transforming your life, your soul. Very serious about working hard on whatever you've been working on. It's really good for projects. It's really good for completions, especially in that second decan. We're moving closer and closer to the the last 10 degrees, and and tomorrow's even better. So there's the moon trine to Uranus. Again, there's that change that's good. So yeah, so most of all morning, it's good for waking up and creating, innovation, basically is what I should say. Innovation that creates a lasting effect, and it'll get even stronger as the day moves on. And then notice all these 3 sextiles coming from the Sun, Mars, and Ceres over to Pluto. So that's a lot of energy there to really, really get somewhere, to really transform something or regenerate. Like you have something that's great, but now you just figured out a way to make it even better, or to make it really work. Scorpio is, in the positive sense, all about refining something that's already there. It could also be good for, because, so here's a triple and double whammy of opportunistic energies. So that's really good. Resourcing with others, that's there. Let's see. Dreamtime guidance is in there always, but that's been in the backdrop for quite some time. And again, all that directional energy to get somewhere. Okay, let's look at Saturday. Saturday, we have the Sun exactly conjunct Mars at 9:41 p.m. So the warning between Friday and Saturday is to get a lot of rest, because this is intense energy and there's a lot of it. And if you're involved in some projects, some work projects later in the day, and you think, oh, I'll just finish it, think again, because you could be up all night. I would say be very careful about overdoing. Be very careful about getting in any arguments. Mars can be very argumentative. Mars is good for, going somewhere, but it's all about the motivation. It's like, what motivates a person to take action, and what are they most passionate about? And in Scorpio, it's to the nth degree, right? Somebody can be very willful, and you could be very willful against your own body. So, or you could, like I said, you could get into an argument, and it could especially be an argument as to, what are you doing with that, and how does that affect me, and wait, what? That type of thing. But if it just involves you, and this is all really good energy to use, because it is, just be careful that you don't push yourself to your limits and ruin your sleeping schedule. With Uranus and Taurus, the body is so related to Taurus, we are all waking up to understanding that the better we take care of ourselves, how important our self-care is, that sets the stage for everything else. When we leave our bodies out of the equation, things don't work out, and then we have hard lessons to learn. So, yeah. And there are a lot of people on the planet like that think that the heck with the heck with this doesn't matter, and that's from wounding. That is literally from wounding, from past life trauma and wounding, and especially with, warriors and people in the military, and yeah. Moms learn that, though, the hard way. It's like, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take good care of your kids. And it's like that old, the lesson in the airplane with the drop-down mask. It's like, put it on yourself first, because if you don't do that, you might pass out before you could even get it on your child, right? That kind of thing. Yeah. If they pass out, I guess you could help them wake up if you're awake, but if you're not there, then they're doomed, kind of thing. Unless there's other people to help, right? And there always are. But yeah, okay, so the other thing I like seeing here is that this sextile that we've had going on between Neptune and Pluto that's been there, it now involves the moon also. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. We're still, hold on, let me go back. Let's check that out. Maybe I've screwed up here. Yeah, no, it's the sextile between Neptune and Pluto went away because it's just a 3-degree orb. I don't have the orb set that wide. Back here to Saturday. So it's to the moon. It's from to the moon, Alice, right? It's from the moon to Neptune. So this is really good for dream time. So if you go to sleep early, you can expect some dream time guidance to come through. But if you work too late, you're going to probably catch a wave of energy and not be able to go to sleep, at least in a healthy way. Yeah. Or, like I was saying, you probably create problems with your neck or your head or whatever other body parts are involved with staying up that late. Yeah. We always have to be careful about working over our computers and devices and things like that. It's like you can turn into a human comma. Not good on the neck at all. So, but other than that, I think I'm done for Saturday. We did get the trine to Uranus. Breakthroughs can happen. This can be really, really good because all of this energy is good for the whole day of Saturday. But again, the only warning I have is not to, because there's so much motivation. Just not to push yourself and work late. Make yourself, give yourself a cutoff time and promote healthy sleep. So, okay. Take good care, you guys. Bye.